CNN. The 2024 Republican presidential candidates are stepping up their fiery rhetoric ahead of the GOP's second primary debate next week. Former Vice President Mike Pence dramatically stepped up his attacks on his former boss on the campaign trail Sunday, saying former President Donald Trump was willing to ignore America's debt crises and other pressing problems after Lee. Post-tropical Hurricane Lee is expected to gradually weaken early this week, before moving back into the Atlantic Ocean. Over weekend, the storm knocked out power to tens of thousands of people on East Coast and Atlantic Canada. Authorities in Florida announced that at least one death was attributed to conditions caused by Lee. More than 90,000 customers were left in the dark Saturday in Maine, where winds gusted to more than 80 miles per hour. And photos from across the state showed downed trees near homes and along roadways. President Joe Biden has authorized the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA to coordinate disaster relief and assistance. Video ad feedback reporter joins hurricane hunters from Flying Weather Station Cockpit 0315 source. CNN government shutdown. Congress faces a spending deadline at the end of the month, and lawmakers are acknowledging a government shutdown may be inevitable. A group of Republicans reached tentative agreement on a short-term spending plan over the weekend, but some GOP hardliners nixed the deal Sunday night, leaving House Republicans once again in major stalemate on spending. The bill calls for cuts across ministries rather than keeping the government at current levels. It also does not include the White House's request for $40 billion additional funds for natural disasters and the war in Ukraine, which Senate leaders both parties have sought. Even if it passes House, the bill will almost certainly be rejected by Democrat-controlled Senate, meaning Congress is no closer to preventing a government shutdown. Strikes. The United Auto Workers strike against General Motors, Ford and Stellantis has entered its fourth day. This marks the first time union members have struck 3 U.S. automakers at the same time. Negotiations between UAW and Big Three automakers continued over weekend, but union warned they may call additional strikes this week if their demands are not met. We're prepared to do whatever we need to do, UAW President Shawn Fain said Sunday on CBS. These companies have made $250 billion in the last 10 years. And our workers' wages and conditions have gone backwards. The auto strike comes at a time when U.S. workers are increasingly walking off the job. From Hollywood writers and actors to factory workers and Starbucks baristas. Video feedback. Political ramifications of the ongoing autoworkers strike. 0340 source. CNN World leaders are meeting in New York starting today for the UN General Assembly. Immediate issues at hand include Russia's war, Ukraine, deadly floods in Libya, multiple coups on African continent,